Once again, good morning. This is my time for my sermon, and I get to sermonize a few times today. And I'm very happy to do that because today's one of those joyous days that you could never get tired of, really saying that Christ has been resurrected. It is the reason why we're here today, as Linda read in the epistle earlier today. It is if today didn't exist, everything else doesn't even make sense, doesn't even fit in. As we celebrate today, we are reminded that we are those witnesses today to that resurrection. As I said earlier, this is going to be the theme of today because it's so appropriate that today being April 24th, a day that is really traditionally looked at as the darkest day in modern human history, and it collides with the brightest day of all of eternity. And so today, really in a sense, as Christians, we have to bear witness to this message that through Christ, God gives us this promise that there will be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. And I always think about what incredible faith that generation had during 1915. Don't forget that April 24th, what we commemorate today, was the day that they took away the leadership. This was the start of the genocide. 1.5 million, we always throw out that number. Very few people can conceptualize these things, along with resurrection, too. I mean, think about that, too. I mean, who can really understand resurrection? It doesn't fit into our normal scheme of things. Nobody has driven past Forest Lawn and seen somebody come out. I mean, we've always seen somebody go in, and they've never come out. So in our reality, resurrection is kind of a foreign idea. It's neat, it's nice. We read about it, we know Jesus did it, but we can't relate to it. But when you talk about crucifixion, when you talk about what happened on Friday, oh yeah, everybody could relate to it, right? We've all been basically spat upon. We've all been denied. We've been betrayed. And so Christ coming up to that cross, we all relate. And as a people, as Armenian people, this was our big Golgotha, April 24th, when they rounded up all of the intelligentsia, the church leadership. We went from a place where the ratio of priests to souls was something about 1 to 1,500 souls. One priest for 1,500 souls. After the genocide, the ratio had gone to 1 to 75,000 souls. So basically, the Turks figured that, okay, you want to go for the gut, take out the church. And that's what they did. And so when we talk about this beautiful message of hope and resurrection, it's very easy for us to put our feet in the shoes of others, most of Armenians, and see why most Armenians find it more easier to spew a lot of hatred today rather than find an opportunity today to say thanks to God because we have resurrected. And that's our opportunity as Christians, as those of you who have come today, to really make a commitment to it. Because that is the single message that comes out today. That despite that Golgotha, despite that crucifixion, there is a resurrection today. And the Armenian people are a witness to that. That's the wild thing about it. If you don't want to, if somebody said, okay, Jesus was 2,000 years ago, how do you know that happened? Okay, let's suppose that didn't happen. Let's suppose the resurrection didn't happen. Look at the Armenian people. 1915. The message was there will be one Armenian left, and that Armenian we're going to put into a museum. That's what the Turkish leader said. I don't want to mention his name in front of this holy altar. Turkish leader said, one Armenian, we'll put him into in a museum. Well, not only is there no more one Armenian, not only Armenians are, they called us the starving Armenians. Now we own Fresno and we feed most of the world. We feed most of the world. Not only that, we're industrialists. We're creating different things. Not only that, when we talk about the poor Armenians here in Los Angeles, that same week that came out that tragic news about, some of the healthcare scandals and everything. Okay, that's negative. But nobody caught that a big industrialist,
A son of a genocide survivor, namely Kirk Krikorian, donated $200 million to a hospital at UCLA. Wow. Are they living? Are they dead? Are they in the grave? No, they're living. And that is basically why today we stand here to say that the resurrection can consume all of us. Despite our difficulties, despite our pains, despite our sufferings, whatever they may be in our lives, we have the greatest example as people. We have the ultimate example in Christ. And this I have to tell you, that even if you don't believe in the Christ coming out of the tomb, the proof is, again, the martyrs who through the centuries had an option not to. So I'm inspired by them. Whenever, if I have a little bit of doubt, look at them and I say, you know, these people could have done differently. My grandparents, your great-grandparents, they could have done differently, right? Could have been an easy little switch. Hey, you want to become a Muslim? No, I want to become Christian. Well, if you stay Christian, you know what it's going to mean. You're going to be out of your house. Well, at that point, how many of us would do that, you know? Come on. Tell me you're a different faith, and I'll let you keep your house. If not, you know what we're going to do is we're going to take out your father right now, kill him in front of your eyes, rape your mother in front of you, and then let you on. And if you're young enough, maybe we might let you go. Otherwise, we'll kill your siblings and let you witness that. Now, at that price, we'd probably say, okay, maybe that faith isn't important. But this group of people didn't do that. They stood there in the face of all adversity, in the face of death. And they said, you could take away all the things, but you're not taking away that resurrection from me. That resurrection is real. And for that reason alone, I believe that the resurrection today has to be real in every one of our lives. We have to become those new witnesses that are out there. And sometimes it's difficult. Thank God that there's no Turk coming to our house today and saying, you know, give up your faith. But there's other things that are taking away our faith, right? There's other things. It's called materialism. It's called that attitude that we have, or that lackadaisical, who cares attitude. Somebody else will take care of it. Just yesterday we had fasters. We had 30 people fasting here in Glendale. We called this an organized famine many years ago. I didn't like that name this year. We called it a fast. And my sister Anish made a very good point. She says, when it's a famine, it's imposed upon you. When it's a fast, you're doing it. It's of your will. And that's a very good point, because this year what we did is we saw that it grew. There was a group of 30 of us here in Glendale. There was a group in Syria. There was a group in, I have to remember that there's 6. There was a group in England, in Brazil, Argentina, and Canada fasting. And the ultimate one was the one in Armenia, a group of 20 people, Sunday school teachers, who we Skyped with in the morning. And I can't tell you that when you talk about resurrection of a people, this is it, that on 2 sides of the globe, people are not sitting there and saying, please recognize my genocide, but they're saying, here, we are genocide survivors. We are ready to help others. And I'm pleased to say that this small little organization of people walking in the shoes of others is now reaching out to a place called Darfur, where the same ills, the same cross of Christ is being brought up again. People dying. And who are the people that are reaching out? Well, I hope you all get a chance today. If you do nothing else today, please make sure you visit our website with your families and check out, there's a second video that I know a lot of you saw that video, said Greetings of Hope. If you haven't seen it, please do that. It's Armenian genocide survivors talking to the Darfuris. But we just got a new video of those Darfuris watching our video. If you haven't seen that, we were going to show it to you this morning, but technical difficulties. If you haven't seen that, please do that. It'll bring home the point of resurrection. Because those Darfuris in those refugee camps are my grandparents, they're your grandparents, your great-grandparents, looking for just a little glimmer of hope. And you know what we sent them? The resurrection. We sent them the message of resurrection. That don't worry about that cross. That cross is there today. We've been on that cross, but today we're standing as a resurrected people. Jesus gives us that message this morning. Don't worry, you saw me on the cross. You saw me bleeding. You saw me dying. You saw the thorns in my head. You saw my pulse stop, my blood come out of me. You put me in the tomb, but today I am alive. And that's the message that has to be alive in all of us. Do you believe it? I believe it. I believe it happened. I believe it is happening today. And if that's the faith that you're with, that's what we're going to invite you to come forward and participate in this Holy Eucharist. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for coming, not because you're here, but it's an encouragement. You know that in the life of this ministry, we're trying to diversify, and we're taking small steps. It's not always these packed houses that we find, but it's always encouraging to know that there are groups of people who want to share this kind of love. I want to thank my very dear friend, Suzie. The selection of songs that he selected today took us on that journey. The first song, Saret, was the invitation. Cold Wagon he wrote during another crucifixion time of our Armenian people. He wrote that in the early 90s when Armenia had just become independent. No gas, no fuel, and people were dying of the cold in the winter, and he wrote that. And the last song that he sang with us today is Hachtanat, which is victory. And at the end of victory, if you heard the words that he was repeating, Tu es hayr mer, teach me to love my enemies. And I think that is the ultimate victory that we have today. So thank you, Lord. You're a blessing to us, and all of you. Thank you very much. And of course, my deacon, who also plays clarinet, my Vazken. Thank you. So with that, we're going to do the final prayers, and then we'll invite you to come and take communion.